You're listening to On Purpose with Isha Cogborn. And guess what? I'm Isha. I'm on a mission to help people connect their purpose and passion with their profession. My goal is to bring you conversations with regular people like you who are bold enough to pursue their dreams, along with the tools and resources to help you pursue your dreams too. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, and visit onpurposepodcast.com for links to the things we mention on the show. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode. And you know what? Today, it's just me. And we're kicking off a new season that is really focused on our brand new book, On Purpose, 12 Strategies to Reclaim Your Power and Change Your Life. And you may have the first version of On Purpose, Practical Tools to whatever the subtitle is. Honestly, I can't even remember. That's sad, but I can't. But let me tell you about this book, because that's what we're really going to be focused on for the next few weeks. Where we are right now in life. And as you know, the past year with the pandemic and people coming to grips with injustices and inequities that some of us have known about for decades, but that realization really being in your face, being shown on TV over and over and over and over again. It's been a rough year, y'all. Let's just start there and let's just be real about that. But outside of this year, for a lot of folks, it's been a rough life. And there are a lot of people who are coming to the table, maybe you, and feeling like life isn't fair. You look at the cards that you've been dealt and you think to yourself, how come I couldn't have a different hand? Why did I have to be born into this family? Why do I have to have this physical challenge or this mental or emotional challenge? Why don't I have the resources that other people have? We can just literally run the gamut and talk about all of the circumstances that many of us have had to work through, that we can step back and look at it and say, that's not my fault. It's not fair. Why do I have to deal with this? And because of that, it has caused some of us to just kind of say, well, you know what? Whatever life I get, that's what I get. And maybe we've stopped wanting more. Maybe we've stopped allowing ourselves to really dream when it comes to our lives, when it comes to our careers, when it comes to our businesses. But I want to challenge you to think differently. No matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going through right now, no matter how hard life is, I want you to keep dreaming. And not only dreaming, I want you to keep doing. Because here's the reality. Life is hard anyway. Life is hard when you're broke. Life is hard when you're feeling like you're stuck in a career that you don't want to be in. Life is hard when you're not as healthy as you'd like to be. But yeah, it's also hard to get healthy. It's also hard to start a business. It's also hard to create the life that you do want. But if it's going to be hard, why don't we do the hard things that have the potential to actually allow us to have the lives that we want to have? Now, I've been in business for 12 years, and it's easy for people to look at my life and say, well, you figured it out. But that certainly hasn't always been the case. And those of you who know me and have been hanging around me for a while, I have not been shy about saying that. And especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think we ought to be honest about how challenging it can be. But that doesn't mean it isn't worth it. I mean, there are a lot of things that we do that are hard. People go to medical school every single year and they know it's going to be hard and they go anyway. And then most of them graduate and become doctors. Women have babies knowing how hard it's going to be to carry this being around in your belly for as long as that little person stays in there. And it's gonna be hard to either push that little person out, or if they have to be removed from your body. All of it is hard. But we have babies anyway. We do hard things. But I think one of the challenges when it comes to doing the things to create the lives that we want is that there are too many people telling us that it should be easy. You turn on the TV and you see commercials telling you you can lose 30 pounds in 4 weeks. All you got to do is this. They make it sound easy. The gurus are telling you all you got to do is follow my 5 easy steps and you're going to have a 6-figure business in 90 days. And you do the things, you invest the money, and 90 days later, you're broker than you were when you started. But if we can start being honest about the fact that it just isn't easy. If it was easy to be able to create amazing lives, wouldn't everybody have an amazing life? It's not easy, but it's still worth it. And again, it doesn't feel good to be in that place that you don't want to be either. So you might as well do the hard thing. And so over the course of this season, a lot of the conversations that we're going to have are going to be with people that have either stepped out to do the hard thing, and they're going to share their story with you and talk about some of the things that they did well, some of the challenges they had, how they navigated it. And also, we're going to have conversations with people who, quite frankly, are resources. So as you're trying to figure out how to get where you want to get, what do you need? Who can help you? Because one of the things I have definitely learned over the past 12 years as an entrepreneur is that you can't do this by yourself. Entrepreneurship is a team sport. And the people who are in your immediate network, maybe your spouse, your best friend, your family, whoever that is, they may love you. They may want to support you inherently, but maybe they just don't know how because they don't get it. And so you're struggling to build that dream. And they're saying to you, well, why don't you, that's not really working. Why don't you just let that thing go and go back and get a real job? And you're thinking to yourself, but I don't want a real job. I want to do this. I've got to figure out how to make this work. So how can you continue to be inspired to keep going? Because you get to hear from people. If you don't have these people in your life where you can touch them and you can text them and you can pick up the phone and call them, to at least be able to hear from people who get it. And to know that they're just like you. They're regular people, but they figured out a way to keep going. And you can too. And I'm all about shortening the learning curve. So let's learn from their mistakes. Let's tap into the resources that exist. So we're not trying to figure these things out on our own. We're not on that island. And so that's what we're going to do this season. But I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. And that homework is, if you have not done so already, get the book. It is on Amazon, or you can go to book.platformforpurpose.com and you can order the book. And one of the wonderful things that is a part of the book is at the end of every chapter, there are resources. There are journaling prompts. There are manifestos. There are resources. There are challenges. And so this isn't about, I'm just going to read some stuff and go on about my business. No, this is about taking action. So get the book. That's your homework assignment for this season of the podcast. But make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, because even if people are talking about something that you feel that doesn't really relate to me, there's still nuggets that we can glean. There's still things that we can learn from each other that either apply to us or that are going to equip us to help somebody else. So make sure you subscribe, and then let's take the conversation beyond the podcast. So if you're on Facebook, I encourage you to go to my Facebook group, Platform for Purpose. And every episode, we're going to have a conversation. So if you're struggling with something that we talked about, so you may hear and you say, yeah, Isha, I hear what you're saying, but you don't know my life. Here's what I'm struggling with. Okay, well, let's figure out how to work through that thing, because there's always a way to work through it. And there may be a person who has the answer that you need to be able to break through the challenge. But if you never ask, if you never tell somebody you have a problem, can't nobody help you. So let's put the ego down. Let's stop trying to act like we have it all together. And let's start relying on each other, sharing our resources, sharing our knowledge, and really supporting each other in the ways that we need to support each other so that we can create the lives of our dreams. Because it may be hard, but it's worth it. I was meeting with a client a couple of days ago, and one of the questions that I asked her in her pre-session assignment was really to give me a sense of the vision that she had for her business. And I asked her, give me, paint for me what a perfect week would look like, what an ideal week would look like in your business. And the things that she wrote were literally the last week of my life. And I had to step back and just think about that. Like, wow, Isha, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, I felt like I was walking through literal hell. And today, my life is what someone else dreams about. It's not perfect. I'm not living a perfect life, but it is the life that someone dreams about. And in fact, it was the life that I used to dream about. In fact, I have a print on my wall in my office that says, I still remember when I prayed for all the things that I have now. And so I want to leave you with this. As you go through this journey, remember that you're going through. It may seem completely impassable today. I can't get through this. This is the obstacles are too big. I can't get over them. I can't get under them. I can't get around them. I can't do this. But you can. There's always a way. Even if it takes a while, there's always a way. And a few years from now, you'll be looking back at your life, laughing about some of the struggles that you've been through, but thinking to yourself how the life that you have today, this is your future self, is the life that you will actually create. But the only way that will happen is if you're intentional. That's why the name of this show, that's why the name of the book is On Purpose. You're not going to create that life by accident. You have to do it on purpose. So I look forward to being a resource in your journey to creating that life of your dreams and living on purpose. And one more resource I'm going to tell you about, because this is something that you need to know about right now. If you have a business, and you, particularly if you're in the early stages of things, or you're just not gaining traction. 4 years ago, I started a meetup group called Startup Life Support. And it was really designed to be that community that we need to be able to work through the hard things with people who get it. Some of the members of our group say that it's like AA for entrepreneurs, because it's a struggle, and we get it, and we get to talk through that stuff that maybe you don't talk about with other people. And sometimes folks cry and whatever, and it's okay because we get it. So if you are struggling, if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling like you're ready to throw in the towel, then go to startuplifesupport.com. Do that right now. join. It's not going to cost you $1 million. We've kept the pricing reasonable to make sure that that's not a barrier. It ain't free because you need to have some skin in the game so you actually show up and do the work. But the investment doesn't have to be a challenge. And we want to support you and we want to see each other win. And so we are doing many things to help you to connect to community, to stay strong, to be resilient, and then to celebrate those wins together. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Check out startuplifesupport.com. Get the book, do the work, and let's get ready to celebrate all of the wonderful accomplishments that you are going to be able to mark off your list as you begin to live life on purpose. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to On Purpose with Isha Cogborn. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. And I'd love it if you left a review to help other people find the show too. And don't forget, visit onpurposepodcast.com for links to the things we mentioned on the show. We'll see you next time.